Alongside training, nutrition is one of the most common things that I see people struggle with, especially to be consistent with. And in today's video, I thought I'd give you a little bit of an insight into what I eat on a daily basis. Within this video, I'll also give you an idea of how you might want to reduce calories within the meals, so stay tuned and I hope it helps. If you're trying to get into better shape, lose fat and build muscle, get fitter and run further and faster, and you want to be able to perform at your best, then your nutrition shouldn't be something you're overlooking. Alongside training, nutrition is one of the most common things that I see people struggle with, especially to be consistent with. And in today's video, I thought I'd give you a little bit of an insight into what I eat on a daily basis. I've actually already covered this a little bit in a day of the life, but I'm eating slightly more and slightly differently just now, so I thought I would give you another day's example. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that this is something that you should copy. After all, consistency will come from finding what works for you, but it will give you an idea of how much I'm eating, what I'm eating, and hopefully give you some structure, ideas and inspo for your own meals. Just now I'm trying to eat around about 3,200 calories a day, and within this video you'll see that although I like to aim for good quality nutritious foods 80% of the time, I like to be able to enjoy a little bit more flexibility every now and then too. So here we are in the kitchen, just about to make meal one, which is going to be scrambled eggs, avocado, a little bit of salsa on toast. I think the total of my day right now is sitting around about 165 grams of protein. In an ideal world, I would want that a little bit higher. We want to aim for sort of 1 gram per pound of body weight, and although I'm at that just now, my body weight is sitting around about 160 just now, I would want a little bit more. So what I will probably do is add a couple of chicken sausages moving forwards, but I don't have any today. So I'm not going to show you me cooking this because you would probably be disappointed with the skills, but I will show you when it's ready. I will also show you through MyFitnessPal, and I'll give you a few changes that you might want to make to bring down the calories a little bit. Now, while these eggs cook away nicely, I thought I would give you a quick insight into the actual meal on MyFitnessPal. So as you can see here, it's around about 772 calories, 4 eggs, a bit of salsa, 2 slices of wholemeal toast, then gonna have a flat white, which is gonna be in Himba in a little bit. We've then got 5 grams of butter, which it is cooked in, and then we've got half an avocado. The 4 eggs give us 25 grams or so of protein for 300 calories, and as I say, the only sort of real change that I would make just now is probably add in a couple of chicken sausages, which would bring that up. So that's what I would do with that. If I was trying to have the meal a little bit low calorie, all that I would change is I would probably potentially ditch the avocado. Avocado is seen as a sort of a quote-unquote very healthy food, which absolutely is. It's a good sort of healthy fat source, but because it's a fat source, it's very sort of high in calories. Half an avocado was sort of 120 calories. So if you were trying to drop body fat, you might look at dropping the avocado. You would probably look at trying to increase protein so that the meals are more filling by maybe having 3 eggs and 2 to 4 chicken sausages, or even bacon medallions, things like that. Things that are going to be slightly lower calorie, higher in protein, and that is because, it's not to say that eggs are bad, again, it's just because they contain a fair bit of fat, and therefore the calories add up fairly quickly. So that's the sort of changes that I would make if that was the case. Potentially go to 1 slice of toast. It depends obviously how many calories you're on and things like that. But that is a few changes that I would make straight off the bat if you were trying to sort of reduce the calories that you were consuming. And voila, here we are, the finished product. A couple of bits of toast, half an avocado, 4 scrambled eggs, some salsa. Lidl salsa, by the way, is definitely the one. This bad boy is always the one I try and get. Hot salsa, snacktastic, good stuff. And the only other thing that I would look at to reduce calories in that meal is to swap the butter for sort of a low calorie spray. Again, butter, fat source, pretty calorific, adds up pretty quickly. So what you might want to do is swap it for a low calorie sort of spray. But I've got calories to play with, hence the butter. So that is meal 1. I'm going to make meal 2 after this, just to sort of show you it. That's going to be lunch. See you then. So this is my current sort of pre-training meal. I'm going to make this just now. I would usually make this while I was making those eggs. This meal is what I try and have sort of 2 to 3 hours pre-training. I wouldn't necessarily call it like a pre-workout meal because I will generally try and have something a little bit closer, some fast release carbs like a bagel or something like that, which actually you will see later. But as I say, this is a meal that I'll try and have pre-training 2 to 3 hours before. Lots of carbs, some fruit, we've got some fats, more carbs, oats, which is 75 grams here, and then we've got protein and creatine, and actually the GOAT of the milk world, Alpro chocolate, which I would highly recommend. And if you've watched the day in the life video, you have already seen this meal. At that point I was having that for breakfast, and because at that moment in time I was training between sort of 10 and 11, which usually I would, but I'm carrying a bit of an injury and not able to do as much in the gym, so I'm just doing a very short gym session, bit of a rehab session for my shoulder, and then going for a run, which I'm going to do sort of tonight instead, hence why this is for lunch and not breakfast. If I was still training at 10 or 11, I would have this for breakfast, and then I would have my breakfast at lunch and just swap the two about. So, have currently thrown that together, as you can see. All I've done with that is added the milk into it and added the frozen fruit. And the reason that I actually make it a little bit earlier and I sort of prep it, if you like, is because the fruit is frozen, which I just find a little bit easier. It's just frozen, I take it out, I put it in the morning, or put it in, if I'm having it in the morning, I'll put that in the night before. So that means that that's sort of defrosted, obviously. The other reasons to let the milk sort of soak in, but the main reason is that I actually find it digests better when it sort of had time to soak in. For some reason, that's what I've found, personal experience, who knows. So that will go in the fridge and I will have that at lunch, and I'll obviously just add the protein, the creatine, the peanut butter and the honey, and that'll be good to go. Food prep made easy. But that is this morning's nutrition done. Obviously lunch is ready and good to go. And then I will have another meal before I train and run a little bit later on. So I'll keep you in the loop with that. I'm going to go and get stuck into a little bit of work. Then I'm going to go for a Himba. I might do a little bit of work at Himba as well. And I'll see you in a little bit. So that is the morning block of work done. Had a good little flat white in Himba, messaged clients back, did some client programming, managed a good sort of bit of work. And as I say, that is the morning block of work done. So I'm back at the flat. So time for the overnight oats. So here we have it. These are looking good. Nice and easy. I've added a little bit of milk, plenty fruit in there. Obviously oats, and I have added the protein and creatine to this. So all we're going to do is add some honey and a bit of peanut butter. This is the way I will sort of measure it out. So I'll take that off. This will then go to 0. And then, I don't know if you can see that, but hopefully you can. And then I'll be able to put that in. So I'm going to go 20 grams, which is actually a fair bit of peanut butter. Again, this is probably not something you want to be chucking in if you're in a deficit, just because, again, it's a fat source. So although there's going to be a little bit of protein in it, it is mainly fat. Then exactly the same with honey. I'm going to go for 5 grams, and that's it. Here we have quick, easy, not going to say pre-workout because I've still got a good 3-4 hours or so before I train, but I'm going to eat again before then. So we'll speak to you then. So here we are, we're back in the kitchen, probably 2.5-3 hours or so since I last ate, which was obviously lunch, and that overnight oats. This is a pre-workout meal. I'm probably going to train in around about an hour or so. The gym isn't going to be super intense just because of my shoulder, so I'm not overly worried about sort of nutrition before that, but then I've got to run after that, so that's going to be sort of 16k. So this is what I am currently having. Here we have a bagel. That is a bagel, 20 grams of Biscoff on top of that. Big fan of Biscoff pre-workout. I usually either go for a bagel with that, a bagel with jam, or some sort of Cocoa Pops or something like that. The reason that I'm having this with yogurt, banana and honey is to get some protein in. Sometimes I would just have a sort of protein shake, but obviously this is going to be slightly better quality in regards to a bit of fruit, bit of honey. This is actually this is 0% fat Greek yogurt. I would usually try and have sort of 5% or if not full fat. when I'm not in the deficit. If I was in a deficit, I would definitely go for this. And I would probably swap this for a bagel thin. But as I say, right now I'm trying to obviously eat more and I've got more room to play with, so I would generally go 5% or full fat Greek yogurt, but this is all they had the other day when I did the shopping. So the benefit of this is carbs, pre-workout. We're obviously getting carbs here through the banana and honey, and then as I say, we've got a decent 20 grams or so of protein through that yogurt. And as I say, I'm going to be training within the sort of next hour and a half or so. I'm going to go and get that done. Quick gym session, which will probably be 30-40 minutes, just sort of finding out what I can do with this shoulder injury, which isn't ideal. And then 16k, which I think has some sort of strides in it, some sort of smaller intervals. I think it is 2 or 3 times 2k sets. So essentially run 2k at a faster pace. I think it's at 5k pace actually, and then 2 or 3 sets off the top of my head. So I have that in a little bit, not the longest run in the world, still 16k, so it'll still take an hour and a half, a couple hours, something like that. Yeah, I'm going to go and get that done and then home for dinner, which I already have planned. I've got it cooked, I just need to make the pasta, which is a benefit of having some food prepped. I will see you in a few hours. So here we are back. Final meal of the day is just cooking away and I'm just going to show you what it is. Here we have 100 grams of pasta boiling away, and here this is something I made last night, just heating this up, but this is essentially chicken, onions, mushrooms and a fajita mix. Old El Paso is always my go-to, with a little bit of Philadelphia in it. This will get a little bit creamier as it heats up. And that is going to be the final meal of the day. I think I've still got 150 calories, even with I've got 30 grams of cheese to add to that after. So I'm going to have a few sips of this, the absolute go of the milkshake world. You can tell I'm a big chocolate milk fan. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you and walk you through MyFitnessPal while this cooks away, just to sort of give you a rundown of the full day. So here we have the full day. You can see 3,200 calories. I'm at 3,050 even with this dinner and a little bit of cheese. So I'm either going to have some milkshake, or depending on how hungry I am and if I feel like I do need more calories after that, I might have a kind of smaller, similar to what I had for breakfast. But as you can see here, there's obviously the breakfast, a flat white. What I might start doing is having a full avocado rather than just half, to get a few extra calories in there. Plus I'm going to start having the sort of chicken sausages to add that in. If you wanted to reduce calories from here, as I said previously, I would probably go down to 2 or 3 eggs, have bacon medallions, or potentially some sort of chicken sausages to keep the protein nice and high. I probably wouldn't have the avocado, a low calorie spray, and potentially 1 slice of toast, and that would take the calories way down for that one. Then we're into obviously the oats. If you've watched the day in the life video, then you'll have a good idea of them sort of already. But obviously there's oats, protein, creatine, some fruit, and then obviously peanut butter and honey. So if you're going to reduce calories in that, and this is a really good sort of meal because it's super filling, good quality obviously through the fruit. But if you wanted to reduce calories, I would reduce the amount of oats, and obviously probably ditch the peanut butter because it's not going to be all that filling from that side of things. Then we are into my sort of pre-workout snack, which was banana, honey, 0% fat Greek yogurt, 200 grams of that, which equates to, as you can see there, around about 20 grams of protein. Bagel, Biscoff. I'm going to have some Doritos in a little bit, which is already included in the day, which is what, around about 150 calories. And then we have dinner, which chicken thighs, so again a little bit more calorific. If you wanted to keep the calories lower, I would always stick to sort of chicken breast. Bit of oil that's cooked in, pasta, the bit of Philly again, which you could swap to light, and then cheese, which you might not want if you're trying to have lower calories, and also you could reduce the calories through pasta and having a little bit less of that. But that is a day. 3,050 calories currently. Obviously the goal is 3,200, so I've got a few more calories to play with, and as I say, I might actually have a little bit more if I feel like I need them. But that just gives you a little bit of an insight into sort of daily nutrition. You can see that it's not sort of all super clean, super healthy. It's not like filled with greens or anything like that. To be honest, I could probably get a little bit more veg. Some days it's better, some days it's worse. Plenty of sort of fruit in over the course of today. Energy's been decent. But I'm actually at the point of this sort of running training where it's getting a little bit sickening, and I'm a little bit sick of running, but also I'm finding that is sort of draining my energy. I do need far more calories just because of the amount that I'm sort of doing. But yeah, that is a little bit of an insight into my day. I might just finish off with a little bit of chocolate milk. Looking forward to it. So hopefully that helps. And if you haven't watched already, then make sure to go back and watch the I Wish I Knew Sooner, because that's going to give you a good idea of sort of nutrition. It will walk you through the basics as well. So yeah, other than that, I hope you're well, and I look forward to speaking to you again very, very soon.